So this was a real waste of $1 spent because I spent $1 on this Wicker Man movie starring Nicolas Cage, which I have wanted to see for a long time because seeing those scenes that are embedded in pop culture now, where like Nicolas Cage says really stupid shit and is hilarious, I thought this movie would be really fun, and I have not seen the original Wicker Man, which I do want to see now to see if that, because I hear that the original Wicker Man is actually really good. Um, but watching this movie, I I was actually kind of like really in a rage. I was seriously like, what is this? Are you serious? Like, if I didn't see all of the Nicolas Cage things that he does in this movie and like just from the internet, like if I had not seen them and I went into this movie cold without seeing any of those moments, I would have felt maybe a tad different about this movie, even though I still think this movie is a piece of shit. Like, this is terrible. This is legitimately one of, like, really an awful horror movie. And I've been watching a lot of Warner Brothers, like, 2000s horror movies, which are really terrible. There's so many in this decade that are awful. Like, I watched Fear.com, which was bad, but not as bad as I thought people would say it, that people said it was, and it was still bad. But Warner Brothers in the 2000s, I've just noticed there's a big trend of like a lot of these shitty movies like this and like Fear.com or Queen of the Damned or Dreamcatcher, even though that's Stephen King's adaptation, but still. It's just weird how many awful movies they put out like in a row. Like, I understand every studio can have a lot of shitty movies at once, but I noticed with Warner Brothers, it's like the 2000s, they had a lot of shit that was like, there isn't anything that really stands out. Like, also, like Gothica, which is terrible as well. So it's just so strange how a lot of horror from the 2000s from Warner Brothers is really awful. So, man, this one was rough to sit through. This was really hard to get through. So the plot is basically that Nicolas Cage is a cop, and he encounters a bizarre thing happen on the road where, like, he sees a little girl. A semi hits the little girl in the mom's car, and then the light's on fire. Nicolas Cage tries to grab the girl out of the car. He's like, "Give me your hand, give me your hand," and she just sits there, and then like it explodes. And then he just starts seeing this little girl a lot in the movie, like Fear.com, the movie I just watched a day or two ago. These damn creepy little girls in these movies are just cracking me up. Because it's not scary at all. But, so this little girl dies, I guess, with her mother in the explosion. And Nicolas Cage goes onto this island for reasons. I don't even remember, honestly, because I was so checked out of this movie watching it. I was looking straight at it, but I just couldn't even comprehend the stupid of this movie. It was just so bad. And so he gets onto this island where he's going to talk to them about the missing girl, or about the girl. And everybody has stilted performances. And it's just so weird and so awkward. And it's got this dumb music that makes it seem like it's scary, but it's not. And here's one person in this movie that, honestly, I thought for the shit that she had to work with, I thought that she was kind of good. Like, not like good in like the writing's good or anything, because the writing in this is terrible, but Ellen Burstyn from the original Exorcist movie is in this movie, and she turned down Exorcist 2, The Heretic, for this movie. Exorcist 2 I love, and I know people hate that movie, but at least that one had great cinematography, a fantastic score. This one, there's nothing I could think of that's good about it at all. But Ellen Burstyn is kind of a hypocrite, because she didn't do that movie, but she did this one. Maybe she grew up with the other Wicker Man movie and thought this would be a good remake. Little did she know. But Ellen Burstyn in this movie is honestly, in a way, like, I like her in this movie. And it's weird, because the stupid shit she has to say, I know probably in her head whenever she was saying this stuff, she was just like, "Are you serious? Am I really saying all this stuff?" But and her like wearing paint later, face paint later, it she I commemorate her for this because she really tries. It seemed like with her performance in this movie, even though the writing and everything is terrible, I felt like she was still really like I felt like she had a sinister presence to her because she's like the leader of this on this island of all these women, and she's like the leader, and she's kind of creepy in a way just by her performance, not by the writing or anything, but her performance I thought was solid, honestly. It's weird to say because this movie is awful, but it's funny to see her in this and be kind of intimidating. Um, and this movie overall is truly just honestly, I think the biggest crime of this movie too for me is that it's just so uninteresting. It's so bland and so boring. And the original Wicker Man, which I haven't seen, I bet it's gonna have a similar, really similar plot to this. I don't think it's like a remake where it changed it up. I feel like this probably has the same plot as the original one. But I feel like even if that one's slower, the original Wicker Man, I'll probably like it more because it's probably better written and more better acted. Um, so so I feel like one of the biggest crimes of this movie for me is that it's just so uninteresting and so dull and so drab. And it's so weird that they do that, but then they mix in Nicolas Cage being Nicolas Cage. There are a few funny moments that I don't know why I laughed at. I think it was just because of the absurdity of it. Like, there's a scene where he's in a bear suit and he punches a woman. Like, I don't know why I thought that was funny. Like, I don't think it's funny to incite violence on anybody, but like, that in this shitty movie, like, made it kind of funny. I don't know, like it made it more like for a brief second. And then for example, whenever there's a girl on a bike and he holds her at gunpoint and says step away from the bike, and she steps away and he rides away in the bike. And then there's a scene where towards the end of the movie where I won't really spoil, I guess, but he just is screaming at all of them, screaming, "You bitches, you bitches," or like whenever he is talking to a character about this burned doll, and he's screaming, "How'd it get burned? How'd it get burned? How'd it get burned?" And the woman's like, "I don't know." Like, there are a couple funny moments like that, but they would have been so much more funny if I didn't see every one of those scenes I just mentioned a million times online. Because this movie, despite its insanely negative reception, it is embedded in pop culture with the Nicolas Cage-isms that he has in this movie. Like, I've seen everything in the, like, all the Nicolas Cage moments that are hilarious in other things, like online, on YouTube, on whatever. So, if I didn't see those before I saw this movie and I watched this movie cold, I would have enjoyed it a tad more. Not much, but a tad more. But as it goes, this was one of the biggest wastes of $1 I've ever spent. I can't believe I spent $1 on this piece of shit. This was terrible. Thank you guys so much for watching. Tell me what you think of the Nicolas Cage Wicker Man. I want to hear your thoughts. I know that you're going to love it or hate it. I feel like you're going to hate it more, but tell me down below and tell me if you've seen the original Wicker Man, what you think about that one. So thank you guys so much for watching.